maybe you have this wild dream about moving abroad and living in the US and moving to Europe, to Asia, to Africa, to South America, wherever you want, but you're not really sure about if this is just a dream or if it's something that you can actually make happen. So in this video, I'm going to share a few steps, a few things you can do right now in order to prepare for your move abroad if you are still at the thinking phase. Welcome back to another video. I'm Linda Eno. If you're new here, welcome to this channel. I am currently documenting our family process as we are planning our move abroad. We are currently thinking of Côte d'Ivoire and Cameroon. If this is of interest to you, make sure you watch this other video right here where I share more details about why we are picking these countries. So back to today's topic. If you're here and you're still thinking about moving abroad, you haven't really done anything yet, you're still binge watching videos on YouTube about people moving abroad and doing their whole Blaxit, and you're thinking, well, is this really a pipe dream for me, or is this something that I can actually make happen? The first thing that I want you to do in this whole process before you even pack your bags is really acknowledge and listen to those thoughts that you have. I want to give you permission to consider these thoughts not as a pipe dream, but the beginning of something. And now you have to dig a little deeper and find out what is that thing that is deep inside of you, deep inside of your heart, and really understanding where the desire is coming from. So the desire could be coming from something that you want to run away from. And in that case, you have to analyze and really think about, what am I trying to run away from? What is it that I'm trying to avoid by moving abroad? And the other way to look at that is thinking about, what is it that you're trying to seek? What are you seeking? What are you trying to reach? So like I said, in one stage is to look at, what are you running away from or what are you avoiding? And this could include, let's say, the health system in the US. It could be gun violence. It could be racism. It could be a lot of different things, but you have to look at what it is for you personally, not what it is for other people, but for you. On the other hand, you have to look at, what is it that you desire and what are you looking for and striving for? Maybe it's a better health system, maybe it's more community, maybe it's another culture. Look at what it is that you want for you specifically. Again, not for everybody else, but for you, what's in your heart, what it is really that you desire. Just like goal setting, when you set a goal of moving abroad, you have to understand why you really want to do it. Why is it so important, and what is the meaning for you? What would it mean for you to stay where you are? What would it mean for you to move abroad? And you can journal that process and really let it all out on a piece of paper and really write down all the desires that you have, all the fears that you may have, and all the thoughts that you have surrounding moving abroad. I've created a special masterclass on how to start your process to move abroad. It's completely free. You can have access to it up here. I'm going to put a link here as well as in the comments, so you can have access to that. But for the purpose of this video, I wanted to give you a few highlights based on what I see out there, based on what other people have talked about, such as Exodus Summit or Christian Wright from Blaxit Global. They've talked a lot about the planning process of the Blaxit. I wanted to add more to that conversation on certain points that I feel like are really, really important and that we don't talk enough about. So now that you are clear on why you really want to move abroad and why it's that really, really important for you, I want you to go into the second point, which is understanding what you want and what you don't want. For a lot of people, moving abroad is simply a way of moving their life, the current life that they have now, to a new destination. So for that, they need to have the same type of comfort and the same type of conveniences. So that's why a lot of people moving from the US will go to Europe, because even though you don't have the exact same way of life, certain comforts are similar. So you will have public transportation, you will have the same kind of food, things that are similar. And certain European cultures can be more or less similar. For example, moving to the UK, because of the same language, there's less of a barrier for an American to go to the UK. Definitely a different culture. I'm not saying that it's the same culture. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that it will be a lot more comfortable and convenient for an American to move to the UK than for an American to move to Togo, West Africa. That's all I'm saying. So here it can be as simple as making a list of the things that you want and the things that you don't want. Be aware that you will have to make sacrifices, because if everything outside of the US was just like the US, then what's the point of moving outside of the US, right? So there will be trade-offs involved here. So maybe you will gain more on healthcare and quality of life, but you will have to lose on the cost of living, meaning that you will have to pay more money for better healthcare and better quality of life. So you will have to decide what is truly important for you and what you're willing to sacrifice for it. Maybe it's money, maybe it's time, maybe it's certain comforts that you have here in the US. The third thing you have to think about is to look at who is involved in that decision making of moving abroad. Are you moving by yourself? Are you moving with a spouse? Are you moving with your kids, with grown kids, with small kids like us? Who is actually going with you and who will have a say in that decision? And here it gets a little complicated as well, because just because you're bringing small kids and technically don't really have a decision to make, you will still have to take into consideration the fact that they're there, maybe for schooling, maybe for health, other things as well, because you are coming with small kids. Same thing if you have aging parents that you are leaving behind. They are not technically deciding for you, but the fact that they are here and that they may be in poor health, or maybe just because they're aging, that will impact your decision making. I made a previous video about my husband's thoughts and how I got him on board about this whole move abroad thing. And the thing is that it's not as straightforward as you think it is, because I personally was the one who wasn't interested in moving abroad first. So our decision making has shifted through time. He was the one who was interested first. I wasn't interested at all. And then with time, I came to be more interested in it and pushing more towards it. And maybe he wasn't as enthusiastic as me, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to communicate with the people around you as you are making these decisions. And not only communicate, but also be okay with the fact that you might not all be on the same page at all times. Sometimes you have to be the one who leads and patiently waits for the other people to join you on that enthusiasm. And sometimes you have to be the one who kind of takes a step back and say, you know what, I need time to think about this whole thing. You have to be aware of the fact that you might not all be on the same page at all times. A little side note for parents of young kids like mine are 8, 7, and 5 and 5. I feel like a lot of parents with young kids are kind of scared to move abroad because the kids are young. But I'm here to tell you that there's also an advantage of that. Like I said earlier, they might not be part of the main decision-making thing because you just basically take them with you. Maybe they don't have deep attachment to certain friends that they have here, and they also may not have major life events like going to prom, graduation, and things like that. So it can be a little more challenging if your kids are teenagers or about to graduate high school, because then you might have to wait a little bit until they cross those accomplishments before you move. But I feel like when they're smaller, it's actually a little easier to make that life transition. So if you're a parent of young kids, let me know in the comments if you are a little nervous about this whole process. And if you're a parent of adult kids or teenagers, let me know in the comments as well if this is a little challenging for you. The fourth thing that you need to do as you prepare for your Blaxit is to keep doing what you're doing now, is to do the research. Watch the YouTube videos, go on Facebook groups and ask the right questions. Don't be scared to ask questions, because the more questions you ask, the more you will get to know. Some of the Facebook groups that I recommend are Exodus Summit, obviously, but also using Facebook groups that are specific to a destination. For example, you can type Black expats in Mexico, Black expats in Merida, Black expats in Senegal. So specific groups for your destination of choice. I would say don't hesitate as well to pay to be part of certain communities. There are some apps, there are some online groups as well. I'm going to link a few of them in the description. I can think of Blaxit Global, for example. That could be a great community for you to join if that's of interest to you. The point is that through this group, you'll be able to get a better understanding of how healthcare is like, lifestyle, how schools are like, things that they recommend doing, neighborhoods they recommend you move to, things like infrastructure, cost of living, all these things that people have hands-on experience about, because these are people who are just like you, who left the US and went through the same process that you're about to go through, and who have a first-hand experience on that whole process. So they will give you a very realistic idea of, you know, what it's like being in that country. With that being said, I have to add that it's very, very important for you to guard your heart And by that, I'm saying that you have to be aware of who you're sharing your information with. Not everybody's going to be on board with your whole Blaxit decision, and you'll have a lot of naysayers around you, whether it's friends, family members, or even strangers, people who are like, yeah, this is just a pipe dream. Why would you even want to move? Like, this is the best country in the world. Why would you even want to go somewhere else where there's no roads, there's no, whatever it is, right? Whether it's true or not. And I'm not saying that they don't have your best interest at heart. What I'm saying is that even because they love you, they want to protect you, and maybe they're more scared than you're scared. And so they want to keep you safe and they want to keep you here for you not to make mistakes or do anything crazy. So they do it from a place of love, a place of, care for you and all of that. They want to protect you. But at the end of the day, it's not allowing you to make progress in the things that actually are best for you, the things that you want to do, the whole move that you want to do, because it's something that you know is best for you. So you really have to know who to share your dreams and aspirations and your progress with. Not everybody's going to understand, and that's completely okay. You just have to make sure that you're surrounded with people who actually understand your dream, and also with people who are also planning at the same time as you. That way you get accountability and support as you make more progress towards your Blaxit. The last point I wanted to share about planning your Blaxit, and this is something that I always recommend, is for you to go see for yourself. I don't recommend that you go all out and go and move to a place you've never been to. I always recommend you go on a scouting trip. So based on all the research you've done so far, based on the things that are important to you, based on the reasons why you actually want to move, you have to go and see for yourself. Go and test and see if everything that you've theoretically learned is actually true. So go out there and spend 10 days, a month, however long you can, go on the field and put yourself in the shoes of a resident there. How would it be like for you to live there, to eat there, to have your kids at school there, for you to work your remote job from there, or for you to operate your online business from there? How would life be actually like for you once you're there? So however you want to call it, scouting trip, exploratory trip, recon trip, but make sure you actually go there before you make your decision to actually live there. Because there are a lot of things that are not being shared just theoretically, like for example, certain smells or certain, the vibe of the place. And these you can't really know just theoretically by learning online. You have to go there and see for yourself, see if something feels right or something feels wrong with the place and yourself. So again, on the free masterclass, I'm going into more details about how to decide on where to go, when to go, how to make the decision, what to consider, and how to actually make a living and sustain your lifestyle once you're there, so you can check it out. But for today's video, I wanted to cover these 5 important points on things that you can do right now as you're still thinking and trying to understand if this is actually a legit thought that you have about moving abroad, or some pipe dream that will never come to life. Again, I'm here to tell you that it's possible for you. There are just a few steps that I recommend you follow, and through that, make sure you stay in community. If you like this video, make sure you like it, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss any of my other videos on that topic. Until next time, bye.